Happy Saturday, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters Allstar video. And it's Saturday, so happy weekend to all of you, and as a result, of course, we are going to be, as per tradition here on the channel, doing the Saturday Chat and Chill, where we sit back, relax, and talk about one topic in the King of Fighters Allstar community for about 15 minutes or less. But before we get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys are new here and you enjoy daily King of Fighters Allstar content such as this, you smash that like button and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into this week's topic, which is of course going to be giving our full opinions, the good, the bad, and the ugly as it pertains to the 928 update. And while this update isn't anywhere near as massive as some of the previous updates we've gotten over the past couple of months, it definitely has made an impact, so I feel like I'm going to go ahead and just start from the top and work our way down. Now, the first thing we'll talk about is of course going to be the topic that we don't necessarily need to spend as much time on because we've already given quite a bit of feedback on this one, but that is going to be the actual limited banner itself, meaning Boss Syndrome Volume 4, and as we've already established, if you guys have not seen the footage, we have plenty of clips and plenty of videos here on the channel. If you guys want to check any of those out, links will be in the description. But basically at this point, we have established that these characters, this banner is absolutely ludicrously good. And honestly, if you guys remember back to a Saturday Chat and Chill I did a few weeks ago where we talked about the Pandora's box that is power creep and how Netmarble needed to tread lightly when it came to how they cranked up the power creep going forward, since we'd already seen a lot of ramp ups in power creep over the course of the past 8-9 months, then you would know that they pretty much yeah, they didn't see that video because my god. Yeah, so honestly, you guys, I feel like these two characters are honestly bad for the game, and I'm going to tell you why. I do not understand why Netmarble would feel like it would be a good idea to release two characters that can not only pretty much just immediately usurp the best characters in the game without any sort of consideration whatsoever, but the fact that they can go into modes like Guild Raid, ignore the qualifications and the rules that are established by Netmarble themselves, and just go in and do enough damage to be able to not only one key those things, but almost one key them twice over in one run damage wise is absolutely just dumb to me. The fact that you can go into Lunatic Guild Raid right now with a character like Goenitz or Leona and be able to do anywhere between 1.2 and 1.4 billion damage on Lunatic difficulty without Starlight basically means that all of those fringe Starlight users out there, yeah, now their usefulness is completely truncated because you don't even really need them, and the fact that we had all been kind of waiting for a Starlight Striker is also out the window, because who needs a Starlight Striker and who needs a character like, I don't know, the Unified Banner version of Elizabeth or even SS Athena when you can just pick up one of these characters and do everything you need to do on Lunatic difficulty, Expert difficulty, Hard difficulty, whatever difficulty you want to talk about, and do it on one key with one character, right? So in my opinion, these characters are not good for the game. I feel like this level of power creep is absolutely insane, and I don't really get why they went the direction that they did as far as making them this good. I don't know if the guy that does the balancing in the background on the dev team was on vacation, or he was in the bathroom at the time that they were developing these, or whatever happened there, but whatever happened, it happened, and we have two characters that at this point, if you're a fan of either of them, you should be extremely happy. You should be over the moon, because both of these characters are exactly what you could have wanted and then some. So honestly, at this point, if you're disappointed in either of them, I don't think that you really know what it is you're talking about. So there's that. But when it comes to anything else with this update, yes, of course, the characters were definitely a home run if you want to look at it that way, unless you're somebody that looks at game balance, then it was definitely more like a bunt that went foul. But, you know, there's my baseball analogy for the day. But I want to talk about some of the events that were in here, because there's quite a bit there that is not going to be positive. And the first thing I want to talk about is the lack of a BS generic memory, right? Because honestly, it feels like they had any number of ways they could have presented us with a BS generic memory, in this event, in this update, and they just kind of decided to skim past it and skip over it entirely. And I know that that has been the biggest downside and the biggest foul when it comes to this thing for a lot of people out there. A lot of people were really hoping and expecting to see a generic BS memory in some way, shape, or form, no matter how we had to earn it. I think everybody was really waiting for that, and of course we didn't get it. And it's not like Netmarble was for ways to put it in here. They could have done anything. They could have given us a designated area or designated event where we could earn it. They could have put it in one of the events that they already gave us. They could have reworked the battle passes and made them themed to the actual boss syndrome banner itself, which is a topic I talked about in yesterday's video and did a bit of a rant on, and a lot of people agreed with me in the comments section. Surprise, surprise. But in general, they had any number of ways that they could have done this. They decided not to do it. Instead, we got the combination function, which at this point, I don't know really who that is for. I have always said that that thing is nice to have and that thing should exist because there are people out there that are going to specifically want to build one character or the other. And of course, if they pull memories for the other one, maybe it's a banner where they don't necessarily see value in that character, or it's a character that's just not good, then they could always go ahead and parlay those into generic memories for the character they do want to build. So I understand the necessity of that, but at the same time, it does not come anywhere close to solving the actual issue, and I don't really get why Netmarble would decide that it's a good idea to take away the ways that we can earn the generic memory and just give us that. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I think that Netmarble is completely misguided when it comes to that. Now, of course, if we talk about the BS generic memory, one of the things we obviously need to talk about with this update anyway is going to be that dice game, and of course the subsequent rush dungeon event that is tied to it. And this thing, man, it's a mixed bag, right? So basically, Netmarble skipped another opportunity to give us a generic memory when they gave us the mileage rewards or the round rewards when it comes to this dice board. So if you take a look at the rewards on there, there are some really good rewards for clearing that board. So you'll get some rubies, you'll get some hammers, you'll get dimensional invitations, and so on and so forth. In fact, the 20th round will reward you with a purple invitation, which is nice, but let's face it, you guys, for the amount of AP that they are wanting us to invest into this thing, this is not anywhere near as rewarding as it could have been. If they wanted us to have to use all of our AP on that rush dungeon for these dice, which at this point I'm pretty sure that the full breakdown of that is somewhere like 700 AP for one roll of the dice, if I'm right on that. I think that's how that maths out, give or take maybe a couple hundred AP here or there, but that's about how much it takes for one roll on that dice board. 700 AP is a lot of AP for a lot of players out there. So when it comes to this dice game, it's kind of like the fact that we've gotten all these rush dungeon events recently, and we've heard a lot of the new players or the intermediates complaining about how they don't have enough AP to get through these things or to be able to do these things, and they just keep rolling these out, and they make them just that much more steep for investment if people want to get through this event or that event or whatever event is going on. So it's making it very tough for beginners and intermediates to be able to even get through this stuff. So if you're trying to sell those people especially on the value of going through and doing that, you really need to give us the value when it comes to the rewards, because while the rewards that we currently have are nice, it makes no sense whatsoever to have a boss syndrome banner going, especially one that is as good as it is and you knew was going to be as popular as it was going to be, and not give us any way to get a generic memory on that dice board. It makes no sense to me. I think everybody was kind of holding out a little bit of hope that that might happen. But then again, of course, as we all know, it didn't happen. So what I would like to do in the last few minutes of this week's Saturday Chat and Chill is talk about a couple of the things that I feel like Netmarble could do to improve the way that they are doing these limited banners. And then you guys can let me know in the comments section down below if I'm on the right track, or if you guys feel like this would improve things for us here in the game. So first and foremost, the big thing that I think Netmarble needs to take a hard look at is they need to look at the actual duration of the limited banners themselves. I feel like if these limited banners were around for a full 30 days, that would help people out in a huge way. Now, one, it would take off a little bit of the stress when it comes to the amount of time that we have to pull for these characters. It would give people an extra 10 days or so, give or take, depending on the limited banner, but an extra 10 days or so in order to grind rubies, in order to farm, whatever the case may be. So that's one thing. But it would also take away and give us a little bit more of a gap between limited banners, which is another thing that I know a lot of people out there have complained about. But one of the biggest things that they could do, and the simplest things that they could do to improve the quality of life when it comes to limited banners, is they could just go ahead and start theming all of these different mini events in these updates around the actual limited banner itself. So for instance, like with the dice game, they could have easily themed this board around the boss syndrome banner, just like they did with the rush dungeon, and had a BS generic memory as the 20th round reward on there, and people would have been over the moon. They would have been happy as all get out to have that. Now, other things they could have put on there, they could have put like silver tokens for the limited banner on that mileage, or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to get too deep into what they should put on there, but you guys get what I'm saying. With the battle passes, we talked about this yesterday, and this is something that is costing Netmarble money. They are leaving money on the table by not theming the battle pass around the limited banners themselves. If you put a BS generic memory in that $50 battle pass, people would buy the hell out of that thing. If you took out the unified banner tokens and you put in multi-tokens for whatever limited banner is currently running, people would buy the hell out of those. It's one of those situations where I feel like Netmarble just needs to lean in to these limited banners and try harder when it comes to the actual quality of the update itself, and just theme everything around one another, so that way everything feels like it is more centered, everything feels like it's more thematic, everything feels like it has a purpose, and those things will feel tighter and be more exciting as a result. Because as it sits right now, these updates feel like they are kind of Jekyll and Hyde. It's one of those things where you might have one good aspect here, one good aspect there, and then you have all these other things that are going on that are completely and utterly disassociated with the actual event, and they just kind of feel like they were add-ons and just things to keep us busy, as opposed to just being a fully fledged, fully fleshed out, and fully realized update. And that is really where I feel like Netmarble needs to improve. Those are some mini things, some little things they could do to fix things and make them better, but at the end of the day, we all know they don't listen to a word I say. So anyway, you guys, those are my thoughts on this update. I hope you all found it enjoyable. Let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts on the update are. I know a lot of people out there are really upset about some of this stuff, so you guys can use the comment section as your therapy if you want to, and we can all talk about it. But this has been a long week of content for me. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll see you guys on Monday. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Continue.